Hello and welcome to Inland Empire Alive, bringing you issues, events, and perspectives from throughout San Bernardino and Riverside counties. I'm David Brady, and on today's show, I'll discuss emergency preparedness and extreme weather with Shane Reichert from Riverside County. That's today on Inland Empire Alive. Well, here to tell us how to stay prepared in the event of an emergency is Riverside County's Shane Reichert. Shane, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So your role specifically is the Public Information Officer for the county's Emergency Management Department. Tell me what that role kind of encompasses.
So to make it plain and simple, my job is to get the right information to the right people so that they can make the right decisions for whatever the emergency is.
And then what is the overall scope of the department itself? What's your mission and purview, as it were?
So we are truly an all-hazard organization. So people are familiar with earthquakes, fires, floods. That is our, the big things that we do. But I can tell you today we're dealing with a construction accident that severed a gas line. So we have people being evacuated for that. It could be cyber terrorism. It could be a lot of different things. And our job is really to plan for those things that we hope never actually occur. But if we don't plan for it, if we don't train for it, if we don't get all of our county agencies ready to go, then when it happens, they're not going to be prepared. And really our job is to provide the services that our residents need in that time of disaster or emergency.
Now, I understand you've been with the county for several decades, so while it might be tempting to say you've seen it all, it seems like we keep having these extreme weather events that are unprecedented, once in a lifetime. Is it true that these things that we never planned for keep occurring, it seems like?
Well, we have plans that are adaptable to whatever happens. And so, when COVID happened, we had a pandemic plan. Nobody really figured that it would go to the scale or scope that it did. The first plane that came from China landed in Riverside County. And so we were on the leading edge of what that response looked like and helped to guide that initial first stages. But we've also activated for things like a poppy bloom, where it was right adjacent to a freeway and pretty much gridlocked that entire area. We had a fighter jet crash into a warehouse in Moreno Valley. And we trained for stuff like that, where typically it's a smoking crater in the ground, but we had a fighter jet go in and it was mostly intact inside a warehouse. No fatalities, very fortunate. No real big fire explosion. But there's hazardous materials and other things that are there that impacted that local community, and we had to be very nimble and have that ability to go and address whatever the needs are. We look at it, we work with our first responders, all the different agencies that are involved to figure out what does the community need. In that situation, it closed some warehouses. Some of those warehouses happen to be a local hospital. That was their warehouse. So they didn't have to store everything at the hospital. We worked on a plan to get them in so that they could get their supplies and continue to provide services. So it's being very adaptable, taking a plan and having that plan have 90%. And that other 10% is the variables that we get with every incident.
Well, are there learnings from when a disaster or an emergency happens? I mean, I'm thinking about the 2025 fires in Southern California, the Snowmageddon from a couple of years ago. These events that feel like they were sort of earth-shattering, once in a lifetime. Are there things that we can learn so that, let's hope they never happen again, but if they do, we will be better prepared?
Absolutely. We look at every disaster. Obviously, we look at our internal disasters. We have after action reports where we evaluate every component of a response and the disaster. I don't want to say it's fortunate, but when a disaster occurs somewhere else, we're able to learn from what happened there and look at it from an outside kind of armchair quarterback point of view to be able to evaluate what we might have done if that were going on in our jurisdiction. The fires earlier in 2025, we looked at some of the challenges that were faced there, and we've had internal discussions about things that we can do differently and improve our system based on what they experienced in that incident.
how do you stay up to date in such a rapidly changing world? I mean, again, it's changes in weather, it's changes in technology and fighting disasters, it's changing in the speed of communication and the accuracy of communication. I mean, it just seems like everything changes so rapidly. How do you stay prepared so you can sleep at night?
We joke, we call it Semper Gumby, always flexible. Because if you're rigid, if you've got a plan and the plan says 1, 2, 3, and you try and follow 1, 2, 3, that may not work. And when you get to the incident, you have to be flexible. Every incident's a little bit different. We're 7,300 square miles. We go from below sea level to above 11,000 feet in the San Jacinto Mountains. And so an incident that may impact the desert may not have the same impacts on other communities. And so we have to look at those, the geographics, the weather for that day. We look at all those different variables and try and figure out what does the community need.
We'll be back with more from Shane Reichert to talk about emergency preparedness right after these messages.
Join us for our weekly farmers market in San Bernardino. The farmers market is ongoing every Tuesday at Court Street Square, located at 349 Northeast Street from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. This event features both farmers and hot food vendors. Come purchase fresh produce at the farmers market and enjoy a nutritious lunch for the day. This is a certified farmers market with fresh and quality produce grown by real farmers from the region. For more information, visit our website at sbcity.org/parks. You can also call us at 909-384-5233 or email us at recreation@sbcity.org. See you there.
If you'd like to be a guest on Inland Empire Alive, email us at guest@iealive.com. Well, I'm talking all about how to prepare for emergencies with Shane Reichert of the Riverside County's Office of Emergency Management. Now, what in Riverside County do you see as the greatest risks? Are they geographic in nature? Are they population-based?
They really range. We are the 4th largest by population county in the state. We're the 10th largest most populated county in the country. So we certainly have a lot of people. Wildfires are something that we deal with almost every year. We've dealt with flooding. Our incidents really depend on what people are prepared for, and that's really what a lot of what we do is working with the community to make sure that they're prepared for whatever it may be. With the winds that we've had late last year, we had power outages that lasted multiple days. So how many people are ready to take care of things like, how do you charge your cell phone? New things, you talk about evolving electric vehicles. In the past, a power outage, the gas station's got a generator, you can go get gas. If you've got an electric vehicle, that changes your situation, and now you have to think about, what do I do if I can't charge my electric vehicle? And so we're always looking at the changing technology, the changing community. Our demographics change, our county continues to grow. And so we have to be prepared. We have to make sure that our residents are prepared, because that's going to make them more resilient.
When it comes to preparation, what's that best first step? How do people go about? It just seems like, am I preparing for a fire? Am I preparing for an earthquake? Is there an all-purpose kit?
So I talk about the preparedness mindset is it doesn't really matter. Your preparedness for a fire is going to look a lot like your preparedness for an earthquake. It's going to look a lot like your preparedness for a flood. You want to make sure that you've got your important documents in a place where you can grab them and go. I encourage people to take photos of them. We've all got a camera that's on our hip anymore with our phone. So have a folder set aside for all that documentation that you may need. If you need to leave, make sure that you've got copies of your prescriptions, your important insurance documents. You want to make sure that your whole family is aware of what your plan is. I'm a parent, so in the role that I've had, there's times where at 2 o'clock in the morning I set off the fire alarm in the house and then watch what my son does. I want to make sure that he knows we've got a meeting place. He grabs his go bag, he goes to the meeting place. He's yelling and screaming as he's going out, but he's not waiting or looking around for me, because that's an important part of an evacuation drill in the home, is to make sure that everybody in your home knows what to do. You want to start with your home and then work out knowing your neighbors. it's important to know, what your neighbor's normal household looks like. If something significant happened and, there's usually cars in the driveway and I don't see cars in the driveway, they're probably not home. So if I'm going to check on my neighbors, I may go prioritize the one that I see
Or someone's on a piece of medical equipment that a power outage might severely impact.
We know the ones that may need assistance if they need to get out of their home. So those are the neighbors I'm going to check on first.
Is there a web address that we should give out in terms of where people can go in terms of building that preparation mindset, but also maybe where to go during a disaster?
Absolutely. Our website, rivcoready.org, has a wealth of preparedness information. It's also where, when we have large-scale events where we post important information and updates, it's also where we put our emergency plan. So our emergency operations plan, our local hazard mitigation plan. We want our residents to know how we as a county are preparing so that they can weigh in if they think that there's a risk that maybe we haven't identified. We want our community to be involved in that process of making sure that our entire county is prepared and resilient.
Now, I know that your role in particular is involved with communicating, accurate, up-to-the-minute information to keep people safe. What are some of the challenges in 2025 nowadays? Again, it's social media, it's the deep fakes, it's the Facebook groups, it's the drone pilots. How do you combat all of those different people, trying to get someone's attention about what may be really going on?
When you talk about the challenge, is that access to information really does present a challenge. Is you have people that are posting information that may not be accurate. You also have where you've got such an access to information that people are second guessing their emergency responders. So they're seeing alerts that they're getting from various apps. They're seeing information that people are sharing, and they're making decisions on, well, maybe I don't need to evacuate even though that I got that evacuation order. The fire doesn't look like it's that close. Somebody said it's over on this street or that street, and they're second guessing those first responders, and that really puts them and their family into danger, potentially life-threatening danger. Is when it's too late, a lot of times that's when you're having, if you waited until it's too late to evacuate, that's when you're going to have a whole bunch of other people that waited until it's too late. Now they're panic driving, they're having traffic collisions. We saw that in LA, we've seen that in other incidents. You just don't want to be that person that's that late. We tell people who have access and functional needs, so they're using a walker, they've got a wheelchair, maybe they're just a little bit slower to respond, that when we push out an evacuation warning, that is the heads up that we're looking at an incident that may evolve to the point where we're evacuating the community. Those people that need additional time may want to evacuate early and use that as their opportunity to go to a relative, go someplace safe, and wait it out.
Shane, I want to thank you for being on the program. Before I let you go, I want to give that web address again. It is rivcoready.org. Make a plan, take the alerts seriously. Shane, again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Visit IEAlive.com.